don't feel this is like something permanent, you know, forever. So, okay, I am here. I am your humble student.
Good morning, Edwin.
Good morning,
Edwin. Humble student. Okay, so this is Felicia, Mareels, and this is
Michaela.
And we're going to be conducting a transparent communication session with Edwin Rush, and we're going to begin first by reading the guidelines to transparent communication practice groups. So the first one is the purpose for a transparent communication practice group is that participants of transparent communication come together to practice communicating in an open, transparent, authentic way while developing mindfulness, presence, and compassion. We learn to notice where we are responding from our own conditioning. It's based on Thomas's teachings. The practices involve deep listening, attunement, which seeks to increase our subtle energy perceptions and develop awareness of our inner world. It's about learning to be present with one another as we communicate to read the subtle energy field within the interaction. This creates a potent field to transform our inner and outer lives. Okay. The next thing is taking responsibility. We commit to being as fully engaged as possible by keeping our full attention on the process in order to enhance the potential for each member to transform. By not being present and not showing up or checking out, we are impacting everybody. We respect each other's privacy by not disclosing any private information to others outside of this practice container. We are aware and respect others' perspectives, knowing that each member perceives reality through his or her own eyes. By doing so, we cultivate an openness and a curiosity about others' perceptions. We give space for trial and error, as this is part of the learning and the creative process. Hold a playful and curious orientation to allow a more relaxed and inviting container. Our time together is about learning into our edges or leaning into our edges. Be open to feelings of discomfort if they arise. Deep listening skills. Deep listening is essential to effective practice and moves us from a superficial level of communication to deeper levels and energies that lie behind the story or a reaction. Be aware of your inner dialogue running parallel to the group discussion. Now, speaking skills. Learning to speak and listen more and more from than about. Speak from your experience and not about your experience. This enables us to engage the deeper threads and energies that are below the story or effect, from the smoke to the fire of the moment. It also helps to build coherence in the group. Be aware of engaging in the ping-pong type exchanges, where one person says something, then the other jumps right in without allowing enough space to make contact with the energies. In both the speaker and the listener, and the space is in between them. Giving and receiving feedback. Share feedback from a clear-hearted space. Discern whether what you have to share can land with the receiver. If you sense a big no, a closed position, coming from the receiver, honor that by naming it or remaining silent. Ask yourself what patterns are being revealed. Tune into the field of relatedness and offer feedback from that space so that your words can land with deep meaning and relevance. If you have been given feedback that you do not resonate with, you can let go. We do not always have to accept everything we hear. Having reactions. If you find yourself triggered, reacting or judging something that has happened in the group or by feedback received, take responsibility for your reactivity. Inquire first if what you're seeing is yours or if it is truly in the other. Sometimes it's easier to see our own patterns in others, especially if the pattern is something we do not want to accept in our own self. Bring your reaction forward and share it with the group. What is important is to keep an open and curious attitude without the reactivity. This is a great opportunity for mutual exploration. Take responsibility for what is happening in the group. Mention if you feel the group energy drop. Please remember that we are all in this together in co-creating a new territory of relating. Everybody's participation affects how well we do to create a new we culture. And that's it. The end of our guidelines for transparent communication practice group. So we're really honored to have Edwin practice with us. He's never experienced transparent communication before. Michaela and I have practiced it a number of times together, and it feels really good. The first thing that we want to do is go to the guidelines that I sent you, and we're going to follow. Where are those guidelines you sent? Oh, here, okay. The transparent communication lessons in developing skills and capacities in empathy. Do you have those before you, Edwin?
No, I didn't receive anything. Is that on the Google Doc?
Yeah, that's the message that I sent you the other day, and you put beside it, where is that? Where is the transparent communication practice guidelines group? It's this one. This one here?
Oh, okay. That was in the Google Doc. Yep, I see that here.
Okay. So maybe I think it might be good if we run through these things, so that if there's any questions about that, Edwin, we could clarify that before we go into session. Would that be okay with you?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, we've read the guidelines, so that's number one. This process is done usually with the triad, so we've got that. But it can also be done with two people, as Michaela and I have done. Now, the time agreed upon, we need to know that right off the bat, because knowing how much time you actually have creates a safe space that you have enough time to share, and that everyone else can do their part of holding space. So could we say that right up front? How much time would you like to donate to the this practice?
What is a good amount of time for it to be effective?
Well, okay, so the minimum time that we've ever done in groups, and that's with up to 8 people in the room. We divide into triads, and we have 5 minutes for the person to sit with his or her concern, and then when we're finished, that person has 3 minutes to explain what happened to them, and then each person who is holding space has 3 minutes to say what happened to them.
Up to 3 minutes.
Up to 3 minutes, yes. But it can be longer, because we're doing this for a demonstration. This particular guideline is for a group that come together of 8 to 10 people, and we do 3 rounds like this. We switch partners up and that kind of a thing. But when we're just doing it the way that we 3 are doing it, we could create a little bit longer time.
So what would be a good time, would you recommend?
11:30.
Okay,
I have an hour for the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Michaela says she has an hour for the whole thing. We have to be complete with what we're doing. So
so 1 hour from now, finish in an hour?
Yeah, I would say,
okay.
Edwin, that maybe 10 minutes for you to hold space with yourself would be a plenty long time. And if you feel complete before then, you'll just open your eyes. Your body will just open. It'll be done, but we'll allow up to 10 minutes, because in your first time of doing this, you might want to hang out a bit longer and just see what's going on. Okay. So to let everyone know that this, the practical benefit of this process is that it also works well, as you can see, on the phone or online. So you don't necessarily have to see the person's face. I've done it on the phone. Works very well. Another benefit is that you need not be acquainted with the members that you're working with. Doesn't matter. Okay, it's important to begin with ease and comfort. So you prepare well, you're fed, you're warm, you're dry, you're well rested, and then you're hydrated and free from any eminent body function concerns. Was that a good way to put that? I thought it was. Mm-hmm. Okay, free of communication interruption. Are we?
I'll double check that, but go ahead.
Yeah, there should be no phones ringing of any kind. It's can be really distracting. Okay, well supported and comfortable seating, non-disruptive lighting, no airflow or sounds or pressing time concerns. Feel confident with understanding the process and free to ask for clarification beforehand. Now, you don't really know the process, but we'll be going into that.
I trust you.
Each person with you is ready to hold space, honoring the same steps of preparation. So the interesting thing is that whatever you're going through, and when people are holding space, they drop into the same places of transparency in themselves in order to share space with you. So you're not the only person that's going through the process. Everybody that's holding space is also going through something really wonderful too. Okay. One person will ask if you're ready to begin. At this time, you bring to mind a real issue of concern, something that a pain or a trauma, and you hold it off to one side. Okay. Until the steps are complete, the ones that we're going to do. We're sharing the issue aloud. Sharing the issue aloud is individual, and depth in details when you're going to do your sharing, that's individual too. All persons will do the steps together. Okay, so the first thing is, so I'm going to read these because I've done them before and I will try to keep up with it. But as I'm reading it, I'd like you to just follow along. You too as well.
Yeah, okay.
Mikhail, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Close your eyes, please. And take in long, deep, relaxed breaths, giving the same amount of time to the inhalation as you do to your exhalation. Allow your breath to bring comfort into your body and find the best sitting posture. Feel your body against the chair and your feet on the floor. Now feel the texture and the weight and sensations of your clothes and any other coverings against your skin. Recognize any sensations of your hair on your shoulders or touching your face, or influences of heat or air movement. Earbuds in your ears. Notice the sounds and vibrations of the room. The fans, the furnace. And outside the building traffic, workers or nature. Relax into witnessing the sensations of the interior landscape of your physical body. Allow yourself to explore anywhere that attracts your attention or sparks your interest. Let it be just a gentle observation without judgment, concern, or story. We'll just sit with that for a moment. I wanted to mention that at this point, your brain is actually part of your physicalness. So it's not unusual to notice the sensations of brain activity. And just very gently notice and witness the mental energies within your physicality. You may hear some thoughts and feel physical sensations of the brain process of thinking as you easily allow your mental self to show you more. Notice mental energies throughout your body as they communicate and merge with your higher consciousness of spirit. Next, gently allow your emotional self to show you the inner landscape of communication as it is before bringing your issue that awaits your attention. Now bring your issue into the merged and integrated landscape of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual communication. Witnessing the consciousness of empathy in this manner enables us to hold space unprohibited by the construction of a story or attempting to conform with the familiarity of common sense. When the issue feels complete, it may have taken several layers or obvious stages or movements, primarily in the physical, emotional evidence. Okay. What I'm going to ask you to do at this point, because you're pretty ready, I'd just like you to bring that. I'm finished reading and we're just going to proceed at 10:30 with the issue, allowing 5 minutes. So Edwin, just gently bring that issue into your body and be free to just peruse the landscape of your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And just allow your issue to show you everything, to have a discussion with you without words until it feels complete. And Michaela and I are going to hold space for you.
So I'm doing this without talking about it, just experiencing it. Okay.
Yeah. You're just staying inside your inner landscape, and you're just watching what that what that issue, how it shows you.
Mhm.
All the spaces that it occupies, all the energies that it holds. How much of your body is engaged in the whole thing. And observing the shifts and changes that happen. Making sure that you breathe. So Edwin, I'm just going to ask you to just gently bring yourself back. Hmm. So this is the time when you get about 3 minutes to describe what it is, what your transparent communication experience was like. You don't necessarily have to say your issue, but you can just describe what it was like holding your attention to it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The issue was sort of a low level headache that I have. It's kind of like a stress. So noticing it, and there's a lot of different reasons for it. One being, a lot of being on the computer, but the sensation is just feeling the kind of low level headache, being with it, just feeling the sensation, and then noticing that just being with it, not just being present with it, that it created space around it, and there was like an opening. There was like a sense of constriction around the pain of it, and just being with it was releasing, like a release of stress, and a feeling of openness came. And it was feels very, that openness has a nice feel. It's a non-painful openness. It's giving like an openness space around the pain, and the kind of the constriction, the pain and constriction, and just sitting with that. And so the longer I sit with it, it's like the more it opens, and it sort of radiates to more of a relaxation, actually throughout the whole body, and kind of like an opening, and saying, "Oh, this is pretty good." Noticing that it's almost as if the headache pain kind of is almost disappearing. It's kind of coming in and out, and just giving more space around that. Something about the quality of being in presence with others has a certain warmth, feeling of warmth around it as well. And like, yeah, it's a nice place to hang out. Feels good. Could really spend more time just allowing. It's like, yes, allow this knot. There's kind of this knot that's around the headache, to kind of open, and just kind of doing what we're doing is really helping that knotted pain to open and create more space around it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's various sensations too, as in different body, different feelings are moving with that. But that was like the essence, the kind of the essence of it. And so I don't know if that's my experience.
Hmm. How do you feel now?
I feel more relaxed. I feel more calm. The less constriction, like because the constriction, I was kind of constricting around the headache. I mean, it's a very, very low level, but so yeah, it's I feel it. You know, I feel much much better. Feel less of that headache pain. Feel more of a sense of ease and relaxation through the body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the sense of, oh, this is fun. You know, let's do this some more.
Oh, that's great. That says a lot, actually. Wanting more of it.
I wanted to ask you the word, did you feel more integrated? Instead of all your head, you feel like fully in your whole self?
Yeah, I tend to be aware of my full felt experience, so in general, but it was more like just sitting back, not needing to do anything, really focusing on the felt experience took me out of that constriction, I think, that feeling of constriction. So, and yeah, I guess in general, it really have feeling more of a spaciousness for the full body instead of kind of a focused, you know, kind of a driven kind of a quality.
Well, now comes the time when it's our time to share.
Okay.
And we're just going to give ourselves just a few minutes each, right? Okay, you begin first.
What I hear you say just first as reflection is that you managed to very much engage your aspect of soul in that, because that whole creative thing of that's wanting to be in that sensual experience and experiencing that all around you, every aspect of yourself is a sign to me that you did that exercise very well. It was a good demonstration because of how you described that feeling at the end. So as a person holding space, we have a really special job in this kind of communication, as you know. And as an empathic person already, if I'm not careful, I tend to take on people's energy if I really am not solid in understanding what my position here is in this triad. So I was just monitoring myself just to make sure I was indeed grounded in my own sovereign energy. I wasn't taking on your energy. And that would surprise me. At one point I was taking on Felicia's energy. So just as a thinking about when we're holding the space, how we really need to be in our own integrity. So when I opened up with this intention and came in and did the introduction exercise of coming into myself as you, I made a very clear intention to myself that I would be doing this with empathy and compassion, and not just towards you, but towards us as a we in this situation. So just a few things to think about when you're on the other side of this, and you're the person holding space. The other thing that came to me quickly is, I don't know what was behind your headache, Edwin, but part of your story was my story. And I was starting to understand how I was really feeling your story, but without taking on the energy of your story. And it occurred to me when just in my mind for a minute, that this would work incredibly in families where we all share each other's story a lot. That's why we tend to come together as families, whether the biological families or families of groupings of people that are going in the same direction. So it's a very great exercise to a transformational exercise, not just for the one in the middle, you in this case, but for everyone in the we. Because we, as you're experiencing, we're witnessing, we're holding, whatever's transforming, whatever is lightening up and gathering more space around it, that's happening for us too. Yeah, so that was very apparent for me in this particular triad. Thank you.
Mhm. Well, because I'm also psychic, I had a headache walking here. It just came to me like a half a block from being here. I'm going, where the heck did that come from? So, and it's not here now. So thank you. Oh.
What? Bong.
Okay, no. I just felt saying, oh yeah, and we're going, watch this, boom. Okay, no, what I was gonna say was, it was very apparent, your sincerity of holding space, of really following everything inside. And so I felt your journey around, like connecting yourself, really looking into other parts of yourself rather than just staying in your head. I actually felt your attention moving. And I felt the connection between your solar plexus and your throat. And when I felt those release, I felt more integratedness throughout your whole body. And I felt a lot of action, like way more action from your chest to your head than I did for the rest of your body. Like everything was pretty isolated up and around here. And gradually that lifted and the energy became way more even in your entire body. And I felt layers of peace, which was pretty interesting because this is just my own take on it. But I actually feel when I'm holding space with people, when they're really going for it, you know, they have really good feelings, and then they go, let's see how good this could get. And just dropping even more into it, right? And see how much lighter it could get. Mm-hmm. So I saw you do this twice, where you went, oh, yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, how much better could it feel? And then drop even more into it. So that was quite a, how can I say that? The sensation that it gave to me was integrity. A real feeling of integrity, and settling into your authentic, non-disturbed, stressed out, just wanting to settle into your authentic piece of who you really are. That's how it felt to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so while you were actually watching me, I didn't realize that. I thought maybe you had your eyes closed too.
I was doing 2 jobs, so I had to watch time. So I had to occasionally open up my eyes and no, I was not watching you. This is all internally. I'm holding space. Mm-hmm. I feel all of this in my body, mm-hmm. right, without these eyes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right. What do you feel about this first time?
With Edwin?
Yeah, no, just, yeah.
I think it was a magnificent example of what this transparent communication can do. Really, it was only a few minutes of our life, and we just centered it and focused on it in a way that it feels to me like really opened up something for all of us, mm-hmm. and excited something. I can feel a sense of excitement and stimulation also. So I feel that this has been fabulous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Edwin, this is a question. Are headaches a fairly common thing for you?
Yeah, I don't have binocular vision, which means that the eyes don't merge. So it does cause a lot of stress in my eyes, and looking at the computer screen and TV screen and stuff tends to cause kind of like stress in the eyes, and so yeah, I have kind of low level headaches, periodically. So I guess kind of commonly, yeah.
So, what are you doing?
I'm just seeing if he's grounded enough, but I get that you are. Sorry, because sometimes that's one of the major things. But
and have you had success with handling the mold problem in your house?
Yeah. We had on the basement. I mean, not the basement, but the crawl space. They put in a covering. There's a new, I guess, this process where they actually the entire crawl space is covered with this plastic kind of sheeting or nylon. So it's really helped an immense amount because the dirt was always damp and then kind of was creating mold. So it's been a huge improvement. Yeah.
So what are you sensing when he says that?
I'm just sending healing energy at this point. I've changed modalities slightly, and I'm just offering up energy to help shift any of that around your eyes. Would you like to experience being a person who holds space for somebody?
Sure. I'm ready for that.
Okay. I just recently had one of these things done for me. Would you like to do one?
All right. Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
can you see me? I'll get a little bit closer. Okay.
Can you see Michaela fine?
Let me just put this up. This is just so you know that there's a transition. In case we want to edit it or something. All
right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to go through the same process as we did before about how it is that we get in to our interior. So we'll just close our eyes, everyone, please. Just take note of the exterior around us, our room. Any sounds or feelings? That's right, and take note of how our body feels in our environment. Sensations of cold or air moving. Just slide into the landscape of the physical. You can peruse with your spiritual witnessing eyes, I guess you'd call it that, anywhere you want to in your body. Get a sense of the landscape of your physical inside. Also gently note where your attention seems to go in your physicalness when you're perusing your physical landscape inside. And take note of the physicality of your brain. You can sense the motion of thoughts processing back and forth in your physical brain. And then just allow yourself to feel the mental energy in your brain and anywhere throughout your body. Good to take note of what your mental energy is showing you throughout your physical body. I'll bring in, Michaela, the issue or the concern that you would like to focus on, and in your emotional consciousness. And just noting that the witnessing is your higher wisdom, your higher consciousness, your spiritual consciousness, holding space for this conversation. We'll go for 5 minutes. Remember to breathe. Michaela, just gently bring yourself into completion here. Pull yourself back. Couple of breaths. Oh gosh. Whoa. Whew.
Well, following your example, Edwin, I chose something very physical, which was my throat. And I noticed we all have a little bit of a catch in our throat today. So I thought that could even be an interesting thing to work on. So I allowed myself to go into that state and actually kept on getting a word that kept on saying, allow more, allow more, allow more. So I kept on kind of making the intention of staying in that state and just allowing more. And in the process, I felt a lot going on in my throat area. At first, it was like people stabbing it, and then it was like a grapefruit running up and down it, and all of this disturbance in this area. And then there was an exact moment where it's like, okay, this is where the conversation stops, and this light goes boof. It was a purple healing light, to me, often representing Christ consciousness. And it just took right on over and just took up all the space, took up all the attention. And then you were calling me back, and I could still feel a little something physical at the back of my throat. Yeah. But I felt at that point very soothed and bathed in the light that had appeared. And that was obviously surrounding, I think, all of us. It'll be interesting to see what you say. So, let me see. I'm just kind of making myself cough a little bit. There seems to be a little bit of a lightning at this moment anyways, but I'm feeling that something has indeed happened with what was the story behind this lingering sore throat. So we'll see in terms of if anything comes in a fully healing capacity, but I definitely feel there was communication to allow. That was my message. I got sort of a clear message. So, and go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. So just as a sharing for our group. So.
And Edwin, how did you feel about holding space? What happened for you?
When I wasn't quite clear on what I'm supposed to be doing, like how to come into the space, so I was holding like an awareness of Michaela, and then just seeing what arose, and I could see different qualities and sensations come up, so I could describe those. First, I was kind of I was just holding an awareness, and then came up this quality that was kind of in this part of the body, kind of a mixture of it was like two different colors. There's a kind of a white, lightish color and a dark kind of mixture, and kind of an interaction like this. And so I was just, holding that awareness, seeing that this interaction kind of a quality like this. And then there was kind of a sensation going into the body, sort of a sensuousness into the whole body, and then kind of a holding of that. And then it was almost as if like an anger came, a feeling of anger, like a field of anger kind of arose, and just kind of sitting with that, and it slowly got a little bit softer, kind of a mixture of anger and softness, and then suddenly there was like almost like an explosion of joy that kind of seemed to come out of nowhere. And then that's kind of what how it all ended. So, and then I'm kind of then it was interesting that you talked about that too, because I thought, well, about that joy kind of and type of energy. So anyway, that's kind of the short of what came up for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. Can you grab my shawl out of my bag there?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's quite how you're wanting, just the felt experience that was arising. If
that's exactly. So there never is anything wrong.
Okay.
Understanding that we are the we. When we come into this kind of space, we're one. And so what your issue is also in us.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's playing out pretty strongly, particularly individually in one person, we all hold that space. We all have that problem. We all live together. So it is, first of all, it is, we all have had very similar experiences for different reasons though, but we're holding space for your experience of that energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that.
So just what I'm hearing is just share whatever experience you have, and that's fine.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, no, it is, and the nice thing about how it's here, there's no sense of therapy or ideas about why, any logical stuff about why this is happening. So I'm going to share what I felt, which was quite different, because I brought into this session with Michaela is this idea of holding space for greatness. I did it with you, and I did it with Michaela. So I'm thinking, that we are not our problems, we are not our stories, we are greatness having a human experience. And so what I felt from Michaela was a lot of pulsating, ba 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 ba, and I thought, wow, we're pulsating together like one, kind of like one organ here. I could feel it moving between us like we were one being. And then I felt areas of tension in her joints, in her groin, in her knees, in her ribs, down her spine, between her shoulder blades, on the top, like right here on her scapula, and then all of a sudden, that explosion thing, what started happening was all of her entire skeletal system became vibrant. Like all of the, I saw the word ancestors for some reason. I saw everything that was pressure in her. She was releasing ancestral stress or history or whatever. It was coming right out of her bones. So, I mean, I'm only saying that was just a gentle hint, but that's what ran through my body, is that she was releasing history that wasn't even hers. History from her family, from generations before, all of that. And it was quite explosive, but it just tingled. My whole skeleton was tingling. So that's how I felt it. Yeah. So can you see that each one of us holding space is that kind of like three different people looking at a painting and describing to the moderator what it is that painting does for them, right? What is that to you? Well, to me, it looks like a whatever, right? And how differently. So we're really holding space for the art of our humanness. That's really what it is. Right? And so allowing that other person to express the hereto unexpressed art of their life, the passing of the really tough stuff, you know, some of the and beauty unexpressed in us. You know, it's not just problems that haven't been expressed. It's our beauty that's been unexpressed as well. No space for it in the whole world. But it can be shared here. And sometimes beauty held back like that, it feels painful when it's been there for too long, right? But you notice once it starts moving, it does feel peaceful or beautiful or energetic or joyful. As what you described, you felt it as joy. Yeah. So do you have any questions?
The question I wonder is how to explain it in terms of empathy. What's going on because I see part of empathy is coming into felt experience. So being in an awareness of what felt experiences are and having tools and, you know, ways of tapping into felt energies and felt experience within the body. There's a sense of going deeper into my own felt experience, which I would call like self-empathy. So that's like another, it's like I had the presence, you know, your presence, and was able to go into my felt experience and getting some outside views, which might help stimulate some other, you know, going deeper and so forth. So I guess that's the overall, you know, trying to get really clear on how this process is fostering a deepening of empathy. So that's, yeah.
So how would you answer that yourself?
I think I just did. I just did, in the sense that it's getting tuned into a felt experience instead of being in a sort of an analytical mode, is being tuned into the bodily sensation and being able to describe bodily sensations or feelings and to speak from those is seems to be it's deepening the empathy. That deepens getting away from an analytical mode into a felt experience. That deepens empathy, and to get better at that is, you know, you get better at being empathic.
Slightly different words for that would be that in this process, we shared empathically a state of beingness, a state of consciousness. And that, as you said, is much beyond the realm of just thinking and listening. It's embodying together as one, a certain state, and enjoying it together, living it together, breathing it together, throbbing together. And so it's a very, very multi-dimensional and multi-sensual way of being empathic with each other and together as one.
So is that sort of like the presence? It's the shared presence that we have is a big part of it, just being present together.
Empathically present. Allowing whatever, no judgment, meeting people where they are, all the things, putting ourselves in other people's shoes consciously. It's all there in a very clear and huge embodied state. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think I think the pleasure of it for me is that it's so safe because there's nothing wrong.
Right.
It's on the way to becoming clear, peaceful, healed, transformed,
integrated,
released, shared, and also evolved. Because what may be, I mean, and it's interesting because the evolution of allowing yourself to see yourself, to be present with yourself in a certain way, and allowing the vulnerability and the availability of being held in a compassionate, empathetic space by other people so deeply would bring layers and deepening dimensions of your own humanity to the surface and beyond. So that some parts of us that are held secret even to ourselves get stuck in some of those habitual habits or body pains or relatedness to other people. You may not know how much, in fact, I know you won't know, it happens with me, and I'm sure it does with Michaela, that when you release these things, if you were to journal about perhaps your headache or whatever, you would then be way more conscious about when you felt one coming on. What people, what circumstances, what foods,
what
thoughts, maybe even times of the year, whatever. You would feel more empowered to take into account the moments that starts to transcend into your body. So and take care of it before it goes anywhere. Not just sit with it and go, oh, that's me. I've always got a headache, or me saying I've always got pains in my legs, right? You know, just putting up with it. So what I feel about holding empathy this way is it raises your consciousness of how it is that you want to be in yourself altogether. And also supporting other people to live a life that is less stressful, painful, awkward, unexpressed, right? And although we haven't talked about a lot of things, sharing energies this way is almost akin to making love. That's what it's like, because you come into that wee space
of intimacy.
Of intimacy. And there's a real beauty in that, because even though we're holding space for your pain in your head and your pain in your neck. Have we done me yet?
Pain in my neck, my throat.
Your throat. Yeah. Yeah. So there's like a flowering that happens, and what I have realized, and you may too, is that you may be inspired in your writing, in conversations with other people, having realizations deeper about someone without even being in this process, and you'll feel that person go, oh my gosh, they're starting to get stressful, right? I can feel their stress, and relate to, rather than relating to their stress, you would just bring yourself into peace. And that's being empathic too, to hold space for something that is hard for another person. And this, rather than playing off of it, you would go to the best place in yourself, hold that space, so that other person could just get out of their stress. Yes?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so maybe I could reflect a little bit here. I would putting it into maybe an empathic way of being, that's fostering an empathic way of being, in the sense that it's creating a space for you to go into your own felt experience and explore feelings that you might not even be aware of, and become feeling more deeply into those experiences and feeling the different relationships that are going on inside yourself, as well as holding space for someone else, for others, and you're creating a shared sense of presence and support for each other. And that it's creating a deeper sense of support for each other, even to the point where if someone's having a problem, that you can just be having practiced this empathic way of being or empathic presence. You can just be present for that person, which offers support for them for dealing with whatever they're dealing. So that's kind of like the essence of what I was hearing you say. Thank you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Nice.
Are we running out of time now?
We are.
Okay.
So
I think it would. I'd like to close this. Michaela, would you like to close it with a little something said? Would you?
All right. For the shared experience of putting each other in each other's hands with absolute trust, love, compassion, and empathy. We thank all that is for this opportunity to have been called here together, gathered here together in a three, to experience that and to demonstrate that to anyone of the human race that would like to have an experience such as this. I want to say amen, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I want to say namaste.
Oh, namaste.
The light in me says the light in you.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you very much, Edwin, for this opportunity.
Thank you for hosting it as well and including me.
Thank you. Okay.